Hello, and welcome to the beginning of the geometry year. We're going to start off with Chapter 2, Lesson 2.1. We're going to start with the definition of definition. A definition is a statement that clarifies or explains the meaning of a word or a phrase. We have three undefined terms in geometry, which are point, line, and plane. They're undefined because you can't define point without talking about a line, and you can't talk about a line until you know about a plane. And so each term relies on the other ones for its own definition. So we call these undefined terms. A point is a basic unit in geometry. It's infinitely small and has only location. It has no depth, no width, no height. We denote it with a dot and we say P, but actually that dot is way too big because it's infinitely small. It has no width, no height, and so we have to imagine that it exists there, but it's so small that we wouldn't be able to see it. Now a line is just an arrangement of those points. So a line is a straight arrangement, so there's an infinite number of those points, and they're all going in a straight pattern. So we could call this A and this B, and we would write this symbolically as AB with a line and two arrows on top of it. Make sure that there's arrows on the line that say it continues to the right forever and continues to the left forever. A plane is a flat surface that has length and width but no thickness. Think of a piece of paper when you're describing this, when you're thinking about this. So kind of a piece of paper, there's two dimensions, length and width, but there's no depth. So this is infinitely thin. So think of a piece of paper that is infinitely thin. It has no thickness whatsoever. And it continues up forever, down forever, to the right forever, to the left forever. It's difficult to draw because it goes on forever. So we have to cut it off at some point. Here are some pictures of a plane. We would call these first objects parallel planes because they never intersect each other. Here are some planes that are intersecting at one line. Notice when two planes intersect, they don't intersect at a point. There will be an entire line like this right here that they intersect on. Now there's a few ways we can name this line. We can call it TV or VT. When I said few, I should have said a couple. There's two ways we can name that. Now this line, we can call it AT, TA, CA, AC, and CT, and TC. Each of these represent the same exact line. It doesn't matter if I start here because it goes forever in both directions. 2 points are collinear points if two or more points lie on the same line. So if I draw my line, if I have two or more points, say A and B, those are collinear. We could add another point C, and they would all be collinear because they're on the same line. Co means same, and line means line, of course. Coplanar, think same plane. It's two or more points that lie on the same plane. So in 2 dimensions, if we have a few points here, let's name it A, B, C, and D. Those are all coplanar if they all lie on the same plane. Space is the set of all points. So think of that as 3 dimensions. That's the world we live in. When we talk about planes, like this plane, this is really 2-dimensional objects. And a line is just 1-dimensional. So we go line 1D, plane 2D, and space 3D. A line segment is 2 points and all of the points between them. So imagine all of the points that lie between them. So I can name this A and B. This does not continue to the right, and it does not continue to the left. So we will write this symbolically with just an AB and a segment on top with no arrows. Now there's four ways to talk about a line segment from A to B. We could say AB equals 5 centimeters, or BA equals 5 centimeters. Now we can also put a little m in front of it. If I say the measure of AB equals 5 centimeters, that little m means measure. You could also say the measure of BA is 5 centimeters. So there's four different ways that we can say the same thing. So let's write all the possible names for this line segment. KD is one, DK would be the other one. Now this one we can have NE or EN. I think, are there any more? One big mistake that people make is they say NT is the same line segment. But NT would only represent this line segment, where NE would represent the whole thing. So those are completely different line segments. So the only two ways we could represent this whole line segment would be NE and EN. Array. Array is a part of a line that begins at a point and goes on forever in one direction. When naming array, you always have to list the endpoint first. And this is something that a lot of people get wrong, is they don't list the endpoint first. So if we're looking at this array, it starts at A, goes to B, and we put this symbol where it has the endpoint and then the array. Here, what a lot of people want to say is RZ, which is incorrect. You name the endpoint first, which is Z, then you go to R, and then you draw your array on top. Now this one, we could say VX, or we could say VF. Those are the same two arrays, because starting at V going through X forever and starting at V and going through F forever represent the same thing. An angle. Two rays that share a common endpoint, provided that the two rays don't lie on the same line. A vertex is the common endpoint of the two rays that form an angle. The sides are the two rays of that angle. So there's many different ways, there's three different ways that we can name this angle. Now, when I'm talking about an angle, I'm talking about how this ray and this ray meet at this vertex. We can call this angle V, angle RVS, or angle SVR. This symbol means angle. Notice when we're using three letters that V, or the vertex, has to be in the middle. Now in this situation, if I want to name this angle, I cannot say angle G. That doesn't work because angle G could mean this angle, it could mean that angle, it could mean a lot of different things. So what we have to do is we have to use three letters when there are multiple angles from one vertex. So we could name this RGS or SGR. This angle would be angle DGS or angle SGD. The angle up top here is angle DGR or angle RGD. Now you should Take a second, pause the video, and try to name the three angles: angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3. There are two different ways we can name this angle: angle ACB or angle BCA. This angle is angle DEF or angle FED. Down here we have CGH. I should put my angle sign in front, or angle HGC. All right, hopefully you got those correct. Now, what's another name for angle DEC? Well, we could also say this is CED. All right, that is your first lesson in geometry. Here is your homework. Hope it doesn't take too long.